Fernando Sor, in his study in B minor, opus 35, number 22, begins with a 4-part chord. All the voices are here: the bass, the soprano, contralto, tenor. But in the following measures, there's no trace of the bass at all. What does that mean? My name is Jo Geisler. I'm a guitar coach and I help classical guitarists to develop their playing technique, to unfold their musicality and their understanding of music. The study, opus 35, number 22, is as a form very clear. It's always in 8 bars. The first part is 16 as a whole, the second 32, and is repeated. So the form is very, very regular. What is interesting in the beginning, that we have this 4-part B minor chord, which is complete with the bass. But after that, as you heard, there's no bass at all. This B is played once in the beginning and afterwards no B at all. So the second line is just the same. So at that point we could ask ourselves, is it actually a 4-part piece or are that just 3 voices? Well, in order to answer that, we just look on tone aesthetics of the period of Sor. And I looked up, as I always do, my very special friend Daniel Schubart. B minor is the tone of patience, a quiet expectation of one's fate and of submission to divine providence. That's why his complaint is so gentle, without ever breaking into insulting murmurs or whimpers. The application, the fingering of this tone is quite difficult in all instruments. That's why you find so few pieces that are expressly set in it. Well, this last part is not quite true, because the piece is not too difficult even if it's in B minor. And actually Sor wrote 4 studies of his 121, which are in B minor. So it's not too difficult for guitar. Anyway, it's a very interesting thing to read that there is a gentle complaint. Yeah, in a gentle sadness, you actually are some kind of suspended in the air without having a real fundament. So the bass in the beginning establishes a clear position, a strong position where we are, as the root is in the bass. But after that we have actually a pedal point in F sharp. And only at the end of the first 8 bars, the pedal point from F sharp is moving to G, and in some way passing by A sharp to F sharp again. So we have just this movement, which is the classical interval of sighing, so of sadness as well. It stands very well in what Schubart said about the characteristic of this tone. The second line, as I said, is very much the same as the first one. Now, the second part is beginning even without the bass at the beginning. So why Sor did it in the first part, in the first bar of both 8-bar phrases? Well, you more easily notice the absence of something when it has been there. If you never had a bass, you would not notice any absence. This first part with the B actually tells us that there is no bass anymore in the other bars. The second part begins without any bass. It's just in some way, it's anchored in F sharp. Actually, what we have harmonically is B minor and F sharp sevenths. B minor, F sharp, B minor, F sharp sevenths, B minor and F sharp. So there's not very much movement. Harmonically, these 8 bars are quite sad, quite calm, firmly staying in the same mood. But now, in the next line, actually we have the bass throughout almost all the 8 measures. In this line we have harmonical movement, which is quite a lot. Before we had always the same key. This line where we have throughout 4 voices is harmonically and so emotionally very much more loaded with energy, with sentiments, and with a more troubled inner life. It's not that quiet lament. The last line, this line again has a bass, and harmonically it's much more developed than the rest. So we have more emotional intensity in that point. Okay, Sor uses the 4th voice, the bass, just to give drama to his piece. And we as a player should very much distinguish between the parts where it's no 4th voice, where there's no bass, and where it is instead. In certain points we have to do guitaristic magic, which are the last notes of several lines, of almost all the lines. The last bar of the first line is quite easy, but one line below, in the next ending bar, we have the root B, but quite in the middle of our arpeggio. The point is that we, in the arpeggio, have to repeat the root. But as this B is the ending of the melody, it should not be touched actually. It has to be touched as Sor is writing all the arpeggio. So what we have to suggest as musicians is that the second B that we are playing in that bar is an arpeggio note. It has to be much more piano than the first thing. So I played the second time this B very, very piano in order that the memory of the first louder melody note is stronger than the actual note that I'm playing. And so I suggest that the line is finishing. Same thing in the other lines when we have If you are interested in the PDF of this video, just subscribe to my newsletter and you get the link where you can download the PDF of the piece and of the analysis. And if you like the video, push the like button, subscribe to the channel, and see you next time.